with the exception of this. I don't know why I'm saying this right now. Why am I saying this when no one is making me say this? By the way, if anyone needs help, please call help. Welcome to another episode of the Solo Moviegoers Club. This is the only podcast in the known universe in which Kaya and I, no, it's definitely the only podcast in the universe in which Kaya and I do this. Well, in this universe, there could be other universes in which alt versions of Kaya and I do something similar. But this is actually, in this known universe, the only podcast for people who see movies alone. And on this podcast, me, Sean, my daughter, Kaya, go to the movie theater and we see the same movie the same week, but I see it in Detroit where I live, or near Detroit where I live. She sees it in LA where she lives. We get together here. We don't speak about the movie until we are here.
We don't read reviews.
We don't read reviews. And then together we talk about the movie, do a brief summary, kind of get into what we thought about it and our solo movie going experience. And then we read some reviews and decide what we're seeing next week. So, Kaya, this week, what did we see?
Well, we were supposed to see 2 movies, but I'm pretty sure you only saw one.
I only saw one. We saw The Surfer.
Yeah.
I'm lacking. I'm a couple weeks behind on Warfare, but that's
Just
okay.
Wait for it to get on HBO or Hulu or something.
That defeats the purpose. This is a movie theater podcast. But
yeah.
So, are you summarizing or am I summarizing?
You can summarize it.
All right. It's my second one in a row. You're going to have to do the next one, so be prepared.
I did 2 in a row.
Okay. So, The Surfer is about Nicolas Cage playing a Australian boy who grew up on the coast, who moved to the U.S. after we come to find out his father died, and he now wants to buy his family's old home on the Australian coast in this one specific bay, Luna Bay, and he wants to raise his child there. He wants to fix his family because he and his wife are separated, and he wants everything to be solved by buying this piece of land near this beach, and he wants to surf the local breaks. Basically, the plot is him attempting to surf at this beach while he tries to buy the house. Over the course of doing that, everything gets taken from him. He comes up against some locals who are extremely aggressive at only letting locals surf on the beach. And he faces kind of like this whole existential spirit journey while he's trying to do this.
Yeah.
That's the plot of the movie. That's it.
Yeah.
This is not a plot-heavy movie. You could write the plot of this movie in 2 sentences. It took me longer to say the plot of the movie than it would for you to read a full-on synopsis, just because I'm kind of dragging today. Okay, so before we talk about the movie, what was your solo movie-going experience?
So I had to go to a theater a little bit further away because it wasn't playing many places yet. And I saw it at like 1. I feel like that's like my time to go. And honestly, well, I snuck in a coffee with my Lululemon bag. That's what I always do. It's a game plan. There was only like one other woman in there, but honestly, I was fighting for my life this whole movie to stay in it because it was giving me the worst anxiety of my life. Like it was so hard for me to sit through it. It was beautiful. It was edited really well. I like the storyline a lot. Like it's great, but also, oh my God, my anxiety was through the roof. I don't know why, like little points of conflict really hurt my soul. Like, for example, like Nemo, like getting lost is like a big thing for me. Getting lost, losing something, or like timing not working in movies stresses me out so much.
What I don't get about this, so Kaya has an issue with conflict in movies, yet she really likes Night at the Museum, which is like peak Ben Stiller crazy conflict movie. Like everything goes wrong for that guy. I think it's just because I
like the historical, like I'm not paying attention to him. It's more so just like, I don't know, the adventure and like the historical context.
Have you ever seen like Meet the Parents or Along Came Polly or any of that era of Ben Stiller movies prior to
Yeah, I mean, he's not my fave.
Okay,
I like that movie.
That was like his whole shtick
Okay.
was like I would call it insignificant moments of conflict.
That's what gets me. It's so
Which is crazy because this movie, The Surfer, it's it's this wild compilation, I guess, of insignificant moments of conflict that turn into, but also like wildly exaggerated, like immediate physical confrontation. It's those things combined. It's really interesting. So my solo movie going experience, best one yet.
wow.
First of all, I skateboarded to this movie with a cold brew. As anyone who listening knows, I'm on TikTok now. Kaya forced me to be on TikTok. There is a TikTok about my solo movie going experience, actually. Take time with a wounded hand, 'cause it likes to heal. I like to steal. We don't reference the solo movie going aspect of it, but I skateboarded with a cold brew, which I was pretty geeked about. And I did the thing. As opposed to Kaya's method of sneaking the cold brew in, I actually like set my cold brew on the counter while buying my ticket while I like fumbled with my wallet, just to like let them know I'm bringing this in. And they didn't care because I was the only person in the entire movie theater. Not my theater, the only person in the whole theater.
Yeah.
So I saw this movie truly alone with no one else in the theater, and I was really happy. I really enjoyed this experience. I loved this movie. I did have anxiety, like the anxiety that the movie forces you to have. But like this was a wild fever dream of a movie.
I almost
that
threw
said,
up.
Did you like it?
I did, but it caused too much. Like literally, like I was gagging. Like I was like, ugh, pain.
Were there other people in the theater?
Just one old lady.
Interesting. You should have talked to her.
She was way above.
So, you could have sought her out.
No, I'm not doing that.
Were you surprised that this was not an A24 movie?
It didn't feel like, I guess the storyline is very A24, but I felt like the way that it looked and like the writing wasn't super A24.
I thought the way it looked was very A24.
Really?
I thought that we had super shallow depth of field. It like had cut to random shots of animals. It was. I don't actually. Has Nicolas Cage been in an A24 movie?
Hi, I'm Nicolas Cage, and I'm going to break down a scene from my new film, Dream Scenario.
Who would you put in? You would have to put in like a more, I don't know, a different actor. What actor would play the Nicolas Cage role if this were an A24 movie?
God, I'm trying to think of like an older guy. Because I was going to say Harris Dickinson or like, I don't know.
I feel like there's a Pedro Pascal version of this movie.
Yeah.
That's definitely A24.
He's doing a rom-com now. Like full-blown A24 rom-com.
For A24, I know.
Yes.
It looks terrible, though.
It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, but...
I every time I see that trailer, I'm really surprised by it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I saw that trailer at this movie, actually. That trailer played before this movie. The Materialists is what that... Well, maybe we'll have to see that and try to have our expectations be subverted.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie was the kind of movie, like it definitely had mid-90s indie vibe, but with elements of like today's world. This felt to me like the Jim Jarmusch movie Dead Man. But Dead Man's a Western with Johnny Depp. By the way, Johnny Depp could have played this role 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been good. Nicolas Cage is perfect for it.
He was really good. He wouldn't have been my choice, but he played it so well.
He really did. He brought little things to it. He's so exaggerated. Like, he's so big that it really makes it better. I think that I don't know, this was kind of like a peak Nicolas Cage movie because if you watch him in interviews, he's always sort of rambling philosophically. And then whenever you see his movies, he always does go so big and really takes things to an extreme. And this allowed him to do it in the most appropriate way. But Dead Man, the Jarmusch movie, is the opposite, where it's Johnny Depp at like his smallest. And like this is pre Jack Sparrow Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
so this is like major indie Johnny Depp. This is Tim Burton Johnny Depp in this black and white Western where he's this kind of like meek character who has to survive in this world that everything is big. Like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, as they're pulling on this train, he's moving east out to the Old West, and like here's how exaggerated the Old West is that they're on the train and they see a herd of buffalo, and all the other dudes on the train pull out their guns and just start unloading on these buffalo and kill all the buffalo, and he's just sort of sitting there like taking in all this death. But that movie is also, I would call it, like a bit of an existential head trip, much as this one was. This movie was about so many things and nothing at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's why it was stressful. There's so much going on, but nothing.
Yeah.
Because I think the part about it for me is that, again, it's like he's staying in one parking lot of this beach that's next to the house that he's about to buy. And it's just like so many small insignificant things happening to him while he's there. Like he tries to fill his water bottle. There's someone put their dog poop in the like fountain. And it's like little things like that. But then on top of that, there are like bigger issues going on. Like he didn't sign his divorce papers, but his like ex is going to have a baby and wants to get married and like all these things. It's just too much piling on at once. And like the little insignificant moments really like pushed me over the edge.
But what's interesting about it is, so the whole movie takes place over a couple of days in which he's in this parking lot. While he's in this parking lot, he loses everything he has. First, his phone battery dies, so he trades his phone and his watch that his dead dad gave him to the barista at like the beachside coffee shop so that the guy can charge his phone, and then he's going to get his watch back when he gets his phone, because he can't pay for his coffee because his payment is on his app on his phone. So that dude's charging his phone, gives the guy the watch as collateral. Of course, the guy leaves and then claims he never had the watch or the phone. And he one night falls asleep outside of his car. His car's gone the next morning. He sets his jacket in the bathroom on the sink while he goes into the bathroom stall. Somebody takes his jacket. Everything he has gets taken from him. He's supposed to be negotiating to buy this house that's supposed to fix everything in his life. And while he's negotiating, he obviously loses his cell phone, as we covered. And he then, the payphone that he's using to try to get this deal, the local surfers cut the cord to the payphone, so he can't use the payphone anymore, so he can't even get the thing that he came there to get, and he can't leave because he doesn't have a car, so he's stuck there with nothing. So what we didn't really mention is how really truly sociopathic the locals are. So when he first gets there, he's with his son, and he just wants to surf and show his kid the house from the break. And the locals are like, locals only, man. Don't live here, don't surf here. Don't live here, don't surf here. And they won't let him surf. And it turns out that the dude that's leading, you can sense from the very beginning, there's like a king of the local surfers. And this guy is sort of like a pseudo philosopher. In the parlance of your generation, would you say he's Andrew Tate coded?
No.
But he's something. He's something coded. He's like violent surf bro coded. He's got like some whack philosophy. The king of the surfers is this guy who Nicolas Cage knew growing up. His family owns a bunch of the land around there, and it's clear he's got like some power both over the like surf bros, and then he's also got some power over the police and the people in this area, in this small town, right? This small town.
It's like gang-like, but it's so like coastal coded. Like I know so many people in places that are like that. It's crazy.
It is a thing. Like the locals only. Both I've dealt with it in like skateboard culture, where like people take ownership over space and you do not go there. But I've never surfed. You surf, so you might know this culture better than me.
Yeah. Also, like I was dying the whole time at the guy's towel like hoodie thing. Like I'll insert a photo of it, but that is like so typical like bro-y jerk surfer apparel. It's crazy.
So I have a question about that before we get further into this. What is the deal? Everybody knows surf bro culture. Like, okay, surfing seems like I like to think of the more philosophical elements of surfing. Like, I've always been interested in surfing because the literal force, the largest force on Earth, the ocean, is pushing you across its surface on a tiny little board, like that connection with your own insignificance and the significance of the earth and being in tune with it and being out, like getting exercise in that environment. Like I get a lot from running, just from picking up on similar things outside, but like the connection with the earth and my own insignificant place in it is very appealing to me. Okay. And I feel like there's a lot of like philosopher surfers, but I also feel like surfers are known for like a jerk bro culture. Why?
Yeah.
How are you zen
know.
and jerk bro?
It's the fake zen, like, I don't know many like surfers who are not like that. Like they're very full of themselves.
Why? Why does it attract that type of person?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it's like where I am that it's like that.
But you love surfing.
I do. I'm not great, but I like it.
Do you find yourself making friends surfing, or is it dudes like the Bay Boys in this movie who like want? Do you ever face localism?
It's 50-50. I have definitely before. It's actually wild. Like you will actually get spit on. Like I haven't personally. I have had friends who have. Like you can't even step foot on certain beaches.
In this movie that's the case, and there's also that's one of the things the movie is about, I think, is inequality. It's a wealthy area, and
exactly
the main dude, played by Julian McMahon, who I've only seen before in I think he's in a couple like period pieces I've seen, but I know him really from Nip Tuck.
He's really good. Okay.
Do you know Nip Tuck?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you would love this.
Really?
It's an early 2000s show about two plastic surgeons in Miami.
Ooh.
A
show?
It's a show. It's a series. I don't know how many seasons there are. It's wild. You
have to send it to me.
Oh my God. It is so crazy. Like the situations that these two guys get themselves into is mind-boggling. But he plays they're sort of like, I don't know. There's sort of like a Jekyll Hyde, or like I don't know. There's these two partners, and Julian McMahon, the guy who plays the surfer bro, plays the one partner named Christian Troy, I think his name is, but he's like the id monster version of the other character who's like a family man, and this guy is just like, he's a like Ferrari driving, womanizing, like out all the time, like your prototypical, like imagine what you think a single Miami plastic surgeon in the 2000s would be like. He's that guy. Can you see him playing that when he was 20 years younger?
I feel like I was just going to say surfers are like that, though. There are some surfers that are like that. Think of Mark Zuckerberg and like those guys. Like they're just like that now. Like think of, oh my God.
Yeah, but Zuckerberg's a little different.
What he has become is crazy.
What Mark Zuckerberg has turned himself into is absolutely wild. Like how that guy went from being this uber nerd into being somebody who's cosplaying as like a bro who would like beat you up at a public park.
Yeah, it's proof that anyone can change. Anyone can evolve. Like if he can do it, you can do it.
He feels like he's in costume though.
No, he's cosplaying for sure. Like that's wild.
It definitely is. As someone who you wouldn't want to be.
No, he looks like he definitely has bought Andrew Tate's course.
He looks like he would just walk up to you and like knock your coffee out of your hand at the mall for no reason, just to make his friends laugh. He's dressed like that guy. He would definitely
don't live here, don't surf here, push you, spit on you.
Bully energy.
Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, but the issue and this, like the inequality issue that we were getting to is that the Julian McMahon character, he's the guy that's leading this whole don't live here, don't surf here thing. His family owns a ton of the land. They're the major developers. And he's living this, like, this is a term I believe was coined by my cousin Kaya's pseudo Uncle Billy, brohemian. Which is like, definitely this type of person. Everyone knows exactly what that means when you say it. He's down like preaching philosophy, living in this shack on the beach, but in reality he's like a trust fund kid who's decided that he's going to lead all these other trust fund kids in this weird surf revolution. His job, you come to find out, before Nicolas Cage loses his phone, he searches this guy up, realizes he knew him as a kid, and this guy's job is that he's like a motivational speaker, and he teaches people to like get their control of their lives back. And here's where I think he goes into slightly Andrew Tate territory, is that one of the quick video clips, he's saying something like, women expect us to go out and they expect us to win. Winning at business takes having a killer mentality, but then they want us to be a gentleman when we get home. So that's why you have to come out here and you have to like live this reckless life. So he wants, like, he encourages these guys to fight each other. They're like partying really hard out there at night. It's a very odd lifestyle.
It's almost like frat though. Like they hazed Nicolas Cage. Like it was so bro-y and so college.
It's so bro-y until you realize that the whole thing is a joke.
Yeah.
They push Nicolas Cage to the point where he's like almost dying.
It's all jokes too.
It's all jokes. You think it's all serious. This guy has been through absolute hell over the course of these days. He's like sunburned. He's dehydrated. He's willing to die. He's actually willing to die to be able to like surf that break and get his house back. He thinks he's lost everything. And in the moment where he finally physically attacks the biggest guy of their group so that he can go out there and surf, they've stolen his surfboard. That's the first thing they actually steal. Yeah. He gets his surfboard back. He's going to go surf. They like let him in on the fact that it's sort of Fight Club-esque in that it's like you can only once you've lost everything can you find what's the famous quote? There's a famous like only once you have nothing you can learn to have everything. I don't know. We'll put it up there. We will insert the quote from Fight Club that I can't believe I don't remember, but it's very Fight Clubby, and that it's like there's a lot of physical violence. There's a lot of like broing down ultimately to find out that you're in this fraternity. So Nicolas Cage has been getting hazed into this fraternity. It comes to find out all the things he thought he lost, they saved for him, and he proved his worth. And they told him that he was outbid for the house, but in fact they're the ones that outbid him. They were working with the real estate agent. They saved this house. He's getting his house back. They knew his family story. They knew that his dad had killed himself. They were kind of like taking pity on him and letting him into this group and doing all these horrible things to him to see if he had the self-worth to be able to be a Bay Boy. And he proves that he does. But just when he thinks he's in, they make him do one more thing, which is there's been one other guy living in this parking lot who is a seemingly homeless guy who's been living out of his car. And this guy's been bothering the Bay Boys.
I don't think he was homeless. I think he was pulling what Nicolas Cage was pulling, to be honest.
He was.
Like there were a lot of parallels. Like they would kind of flip their perspective, and it was like a very similar.
Well, at the trippiest point of the movie, I thought that guy wasn't real.
Same.
Nicolas Cage had become him, and that
it was so trippy.
I thought at one point the movie was going to go even trippier. Like, do you ever see that M. Night Shyamalan movie, Old? Mm-mm. These people go to a beach and they realize that they're aging a year a minute.
Oh, I never saw that.
So it's good. You should watch it. But we should do like I'm thinking of TikToks while we're doing this. We should do a TikTok of best beach movies. Because Old is good and this is good.
Yeah.
But summer's coming up too. For Memorial Day, we'll do best beach movies.
Yeah.
But I thought this is a great beach movie. Old is a great beach movie. I thought at one point that there was some sort of time warp where the Bay Boys didn't want anybody going to Luna Bay because they had found a fountain of youth and they were staying young by keeping people away.
Okay.
And Nicolas Cage was aging because he was on the outside and he had become that guy. So I thought that guy wasn't real. There's actually this, I busted the book out. There's this Herman Hesse short story that I'm obsessed with. So it's in this book of Herman Hesse fairy tales. I will spare you guys looking at my upper shoulder, but you may recognize this guy. I have this tattoo. It's from this story, Flute Dream. It's like a 5-page story. It's amazing. I reread it this morning, and this kid, he goes out to discover the world, and his dad gives him a flute. He's a beautiful singer, and his dad gives him the flute and tells him to learn how to play it. And his dad says, you should go out and explore the world, but only sing beautiful songs. You have a beautiful voice, sing beautiful songs. So he's going through the world singing his beautiful songs. He meets somebody, they help him, meets somebody else, they help him. He meets a beautiful girl. They have a nice moment. He sings her a song about how beautiful she is and how beautiful life is. And then she asks him what he knows about heartbreak. And he says he doesn't know anything about heartbreak. And she says, well, then you don't know anything about love. And it kind of sticks with him. He's like, huh, that's odd. So she gives him some food. She gives him his first kiss. He drops her off at this village, and he continues on. And ultimately, he finds this dude on a boat, and he needs the guy to help him cross the river. And when he gets on the boat with the guy and he starts to cross the river, the guy starts to sing a song, but it's unlike any song he's ever heard before. It's a mournful song. It's a sad song, but it's also the most beautiful song he's ever heard. So this boy and this guy spend this night together singing sad songs. The boy's learning about life. He's starting to think that, well, everything my dad told me about only singing beautiful songs about wonderful things in life is maybe wrong, because these sad songs are among the most powerful I've ever heard. So they have this bonding experience, and the sun is about to rise, and the kid looks up to ask the guy one more question, and the guy is gone. So the kid is really sad, and he starts singing a sad song, and then he leans over and he looks into the river, and he sees that he has now become the old man. And he... It's in line with, if you know, like Hessa's other work, like Siddhartha. Like, obviously, the story of Siddhartha, you have to encounter death and sickness and these different things to become a complete person. This was like Hessa kind of toying with those ideas and concepts. And I thought that that's where this movie was going.
I totally could have seen it going that way, too. I thought, especially there was a moment where it showed like their eyes or something, or like a super close up of both Nicolas Cage and then the older like homeless guy, and they looked very similar. So I was like, wait, is it him?
Well, they did a triptych thing actually, where it was Nicolas Cage, the homeless guy, and Nicolas Cage's dad.
Yeah, his dad. Yeah, that like truly, it was really wild how trippy it was, and I didn't really know where it was going. And then at the very end, it came full circle.
No, so Nicolas Cage, his final act that he has to do to prove he's a bay boy is he has to light the old guy's car on fire because they want to get the old guy out of there because he's bothering them. Mm-hmm. And he isn't going to do it, but then the Julian McMahon's character gets in his head, like, you can have everything. You've sacrificed your whole life to get this house back. This is the chance to do what your dad couldn't do, to be strong enough to take what your family needs and fix your family's trajectory. So he does it. He lights the car on fire, and his son shows up right as this is happening, and he realizes he's done this for his son. His son and him and all the Bay Boys are going out to celebrate this moment and surf, and the old guy shows up. And he's got a gun.
He's in a suit.
He's in Nicolas Cage's suit.
Which is interesting because, like, in the beginning of the movie, we see, like, a body in the water, assuming that it's Nicolas Cage's dad in a suit, because that's how he, like, killed himself there so many years before. And then at the end, old guy wearing a suit with a gun.
Holds them all hostage, lets some of them go. Turns out the old guy's son was a bay boy, but Julian McMahon's character pushed him to the edge and ended up then sleeping with his girlfriend. It set this guy off. This guy went off, became a drug addict, and died. And then the old man came looking for him, and they killed the old man's dog. And the old man is there to get his revenge. And after a tense standoff, he lets Nicolas Cage and his son go. They paddle out. While they're paddling out, the old man kills Julian McMahon, kills himself. And it's, to me, man, where this movie was like, had like the greatest like internal conflict, where I was, you know, obviously the movie is about wealth and power and about sacrifice and about also nostalgism. Like, Nicolas Cage was so nostalgic. He could have moved to any beach in the world, but he needed that house with that break. And it was a look at, it's crazy. It really deeply connected with me because my parents used to have like a lake house that I was obsessed with. And my like plan in life was always, Kaya grew up spending summers there and winters sometimes. And I was obsessed with this place. I always wanted to buy the house next to it when I got older and build like a family compound there. This was one of my main goals in life, was to buy this and live there and have that for us for generations. And then I don't know, a handful of years ago, my dad got sick and my parents sold that place. And I still I felt Nicolas Cage's thing, like the way he feels. Like there's a part of me that wants to buy that house, like just because. Like I could go buy any other house on any other lake that would maybe be better, but I had it in my mind that is what I wanted to do. That is perfect. That's like our family land. That's what I want to have. And the fact that you see Nicolas Cage get so trapped in that nostalgism for that place that he has to try to earn the money to buy it. His marriage failed, and he's not really in his kid's life. They have a tense relationship. Also, he can get this to supposedly make the family work better. It's like because he's so tied to the past, he can't live in the moment. And then, so there was those elements. But then where the movie also really stuck with me is, like, if you have to make that decision where you think this is the thing that's going to complete your family, but you have to violate your own morals or your own ethics to get that, what's the right decision? You can tell yourself, I am willing to compromise my morals. I am willing to, like, if I had to compromise my morals or ethics to make your life better, would I? So here's where the movie gets interesting, is maybe I like to think I wouldn't, but maybe I would, because you have to look at, like, I actually was talking to a friend who's in rabbinical school recently, and he was telling me about this like hierarchy of ethics, and your family comes first. So if you have to choose between your family and somebody else, and you choose your family, that's the ethical thing to do. But like, that's a really slippery slope, because ultimately you want to teach your family to live by your ethics. So the decision that I might be willing to make your life better when you're not around is very different from what I might do if you're watching me do it. Does that make sense? So when he, like, I understood in that moment where he was
like
willing,
with his son in the car, like he didn't want his son to see him do that, but he was doing it for his son.
Yes. Which is where you realize that your ethics need to be pretty rock solid, because the truth is, if you're violating your ethics, no good result is going to come from that. So like, doing that, like, he realized that when he saw his son, because then you're teaching your kid your ethics, but you teach your kid through your actions, whether they see you do it or not. So like, that's where ultimately, like, would I burn the car? I was gonna ask. I really hope not. Would I do it in front of you guys? Absolutely not. No way. I would not do it. But
then that's like the same thing is true. Would you do it if you were alone?
I hope not.
But
I have to think about it. I really have to think about it.
Yeah.
And that's where, I think that's where your ethics can't be gray or slippery, in that you have to be steadfast and say, if I wouldn't do this when my kids are around, I shouldn't do it when they're not around. And if we all live that way, the world would be a better place. And that's ultimately why we have ethics, is we're social creatures. We have to live in groups. We have to have this group dynamic. And there are people who live by the philosophy of the Bay Boys, which is like essentially like this sort of Darwinistic kill or be killed sort of survival of the fittest, which is interesting because that gets taken out of context. Survival of the fittest isn't actually what people think it is. It's really taken out of context. But it's that version of survival of the fittest versus, in reality, the way that humans have survived is survival of those most willing to work with others. And if we all live that, it's like, it's chess versus checkers, right? The checkers move is, I'll compromise my ethics to get the thing. It's going to make my family's life better. I'll do it. I'll get the thing. I'll steal. I'll do whatever. And the chess move is, well, I can't do that, because if I take this path, I'm showing my kids this is the only way to get the thing.
Also, at the very beginning, like, the movie kicks off with him going on the beach and the guy being like, hey, like, I know you're in front of your son and you want to be all like high and mighty, but like, just don't surf this break. Like that, like, I think it's just a theme for the whole thing, is what you do in front of your kids, which, I mean, whatever, just don't have kids, I guess. But
should we turn this into the anti-natalist hour?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. You're an anti-natalist?
Yeah.
Do you think it was unethical for us to have you?
Yeah, I think about that all the time. I feel horrible about it.
Wait,
Shouldn't
you
have.
feel horrible. Why do you feel horrible? Do you think because we violated your free will by bringing you into the world, or because it's selfish to make new people on a planet that doesn't necessarily need them?
I just feel like having okay, I'm not really an antinatalist, but I have a lot to like think about here in the sense that like I think we should have fewer people with more luxurious, beautiful lives. Like mommy had me young. She couldn't go to college. She couldn't do all these things. She had to sacrifice so much. I just think like she could have had a better life without kids. But I feel that way about everyone.
But you're missing part of it is that I think there are definitely people who resent their kids.
I know.
Those people should not have kids. I see them all the time. I talk to them all the time, and it like really bums me out.
That's so sad.
It's so sad because like no one made you do this. Like no one forced you to have kids. Now you're just complaining about your kids all the time. But I think I don't think that I've personally sacrificed anything to have kids because you get the experience of having kids. Like that's its own experience. So you're not missing out on that. So it's just a different thing. Like, I mean, you can go do all the things. I don't think there's much you can do without kids that you can't do with kids other than not having kids.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It
and
does.
Also, so in terms of I think the argument you're making, there should be less people, but the people should live in more luxury. There's some interesting arguments.
As in, like, not luxury, like big expensive things. I just mean as in like rich in experiences.
Abundance of any kind, no matter what that abundance means to you. I feel you on that. So there's actually some interesting arguments right now happening. There's like a bit of a culture war happening between natalists and anti-natalists. You've got the Elon Musks of the world who believe we're not going to have enough people, which in some countries is absolutely true. And it's sort of the inverse. I guess that argument is the inverse, is that the more people there are, the more resources we can access and the more abundance we can all have.
Yeah.
And then there's
I can totally see both sides of the argument.
Yeah, and then there's like what was that book? There was a book in the 70s that got everybody freaked out about overpopulation.
Oh, really?
And then population numbers started to dip, and now people are questioning that. But we also did find that there's like census numbers were wrong for a long time, and there's about 1 billion more people than that, which is crazy. 1 billion more people. I think in the 1950s there were only a total of 2 billion people on Earth, and now they just found 1 billion people. There's like 9 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
But what's that book called? Book about population 70s.
It's more. I don't know. Like the overpopulation.
It's called the population bomb. So he believed that in the 70s and 80s, hundreds of millions of people would starve to death, and that that we needed to start like curbing the population. It's around the same time they put in like China had a one-child policy for a long time, and sorry, my thing went to picture.
Wasn't it like that until like very recently? Like
and now it was crazy too. All these like people started to like throw their girls in trash cans because girls didn't have the same value as boys, or is that just American propaganda? I don't know.
I think it's true.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. If you're the kid that got thrown in a trash can, it matters a lot. But it doesn't matter for the sake of this argument. This is a philosophical argument about natalism and anti-natalism. I understand every side of this argument. I also think I understand the people who are philosophically against children because you're bringing them into this world without them having like you're putting somebody into a life. That's a huge responsibility when that person did not ask you to do it. That consciousness did not say put me in a body.
But that I don't get that one. That's like the one argument that I don't understand.
Because they wouldn't have the consciousness if you didn't create them.
Yeah, yeah.
But the burden, you gave them the burden of consciousness.
And then you have to get into the idea of like euthanasia, like I don't know.
Yeah. It's these are the big questions, right? Like that's the big question is it ethically responsible to have kids, to create kids, because you are bringing consciousness into the world without the consciousness having a say in it? And
so weird.
Is it ethically responsible for people to remove their consciousness, or so we think, to end their life when they're ready to end their life? That one's super clear to me. Is like if you're ready to, I am not advocating, by the way, if anyone needs help, please call help. I am not advocating for suicide in any way.
No,
I think it's generally a bad decision. That being said, if I was super old and like I wasn't going to have a good quality of life, if I had ruled out, if there's no way my quality of life is ever going to be good again, and I'm going to be a burden to everybody around me, and I just don't feel like I want to live anymore, I absolutely think that I should have the moral, ethical, and legal right to end my life.
Okay. Yeah.
Not advocating
so.
for it.
No.
I also just think that's if that's somebody's decision, they have the right to do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Except for, oh man, I'm getting so specific now. With the exception of this, I don't know why I'm saying this right now. Why am I saying this when no one is making me say this? I think it is unethical if you are a person who is still caring for kids in either a financial or educational way. If you're raising kids in any way whatsoever, I think it is absolutely unethical, immoral.
Totally.
To remove yourself from that situation in any way, whether it's abandonment or
and it's their fault. They brought that consciousness into the world. So
totally your fault.
You have to stick with it.
You have a responsibility to stick with it. This is in any way, absolute 100% responsibility until they are off on their own and doing well and no longer need you, which never happens. You come to realize as you get older, like there's still things that I like call my mom for, or I still like, I won't get into the gory details, but I can't really call on my dad for much advice anymore, but I still do regularly.
Yeah.
And like you realize as you get older, there's never really a point, unless you have terrible parents. And there are a lot of people with terrible parents, but if you have terrible parents, you probably don't call them. But like if you don't have terrible parents, like my mom's in her 70s, her mom was in her 90s and just died a few months ago. As you know, her house is haunted, and my mom would still call her mom for advice. Like, you don't stop.
I mean, I talk to you and mommy for literally hours every day.
Yeah, it's weird when I don't hear from you. I don't like it. It
is really weird when I don't talk to you guys, just because service or busy or whatever. I hate that.
Or you're like traveling or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I will say something.
Okay.
This is the difference between a good movie and a bad movie. A good movie leads you to have conversations like this about things that like actually affect your life, and good art versus bad art in general. Anything is, this movie made me think about all of these things. And
me too.
You don't feel like it's off topic. You were thinking about these things. Like this movie made us think. Think how we felt after we watched Novocaine. Nothing.
Oof. Like I also feel like I could really only talk about surface things in the movie. Like I would be talking about the way that it was edited or something, rather than like how it made me feel, because it didn't make me feel anything.
Right. And oddly, that's the best review ever for Novocaine, a movie that made me feel nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But this actually, there was a lot interesting happening from like purely the filmmaking arts standpoint. Like It was shot really beautifully. The
It was so
performances were
good.
incredible. The music was really great.
The music was like everything. I couldn't even. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Full circle.
it was a good movie that will make you think about a lot of deep things. I made some notes, like some wild notes. I was like, what is this movie about? Stoicism, toxic masculinity.
It's about
Like,
everything.
it's about
It's just
everything.
like all wrapped up in a bow. Like it touched every single subject ever.
Yeah, I wrote, this is about what we want to give our kids and what we're willing to do for it. But can we get our integrity back once we've compromised our values? I think the answer is no. It also, this like captured a moment. I love when films are able to capture the moment that they're made in. There is this movie. Okay, you should watch Dead Man. What else did we decide you need to watch?
Heat. And the
No,
Truman.
The Truman Show. You also a Truman Show captures the moment perfectly. Truman
Yeah.
Show actually captures the moment it was entering, which is exceedingly rare. But you also need to watch Nip Tuck for like a good
Nip
guilty
Tuck.
pleasure. Nip Tuck is great.
I'm writing that down.
But this made me think a lot about this Michael Douglas movie from the 90s called Falling Down. I think the tagline for it is something like a man who just wanted to go home. And it has one of the most iconic posters ever. We'll put it in here, but it's like Michael Douglas Falling Down. I can't remember. I think he's holding a baseball bat and a briefcase. No, he's holding a gun and a briefcase, and LA is against the background. Michael Douglas plays this guy who is having a bad day, and he's just trying to get home. I think he got fired, and he ends up getting stuck in traffic because it's LA in the 90s, and it's like sweltering hot, and he ends up just going crazy, like becoming a full-blown like
Oh god.
kind of vigilante style, like I don't even know what, like
This sounds like the surfer and
unhinged
like it
man.
would give me a panic attack.
Oh, it would give you a panic attack. It is a wild one. It's the surfer, but in LA traffic.
That's way worse. That's literally hell. That's awful.
on
Oh my
a
God.
really hot LA day. And same thing, he's having like marital issues. But yeah, this to me, and he keeps saying throughout the movie, he's like, I'm just a guy who wants to go home. And on this one, Nicolas Cage just kept saying like, I just want to surf the break. Like,
Yeah.
He's lost his voice halfway through the movie. And
Yeah.
he's got this like crazy performance that if you saw it out of context, you'd be like, what is that guy doing? Why is he talking that
Yeah.
way? It's such an odd performance choice that makes so much sense in the movie.
It's also so funny because he was able to switch up so quickly. Like he was such a normal like business guy at the beginning, like just typical, and then by the end of the movie he's a crazy person.
He's a total, yeah, he is. It also made me think about, I don't know why.
And
I
when
think
he
a
was
lot of-
talking, no, like the part where he was talking to the people around him, like, I'm gonna get this house, like talking like he is a crazy person on the street. And I was just like, he is like emulating this so well. It's crazy.
He's really good. It's what's wild about it is that every single thing he's saying is accurate,
Yeah.
but you start to wonder because of his performance and the way people around him are treating him if he in fact is crazy.
Exactly. And it also made me like, that moment literally made me think like, oh my God, are the people like on the street, like homeless people come up to me all the time when I'm running and they'll like say crazy things like that to me. And I'm thinking like, maybe they're not that crazy. Like maybe it's just the way that they look or like their attitude, but I don't know. I thought that the whole time.
Bingo. I thought
Yeah.
the same thing. This gave me, so obviously Kai and I've been working on a project for a long time. I think we've mentioned in the last one about Truman Show delusion, and it's made me look at a lot of different delusions and schizophrenia and different people that have different mental illnesses and how they end up on the street. And like this movie did the best job I've ever seen of any movie of breaking down how quickly anybody could find themselves homeless. And like
Yeah.
that should give us more empathy for homeless people, which is an interesting one
totally
for you.
did.
Because
Yeah.
you had a really bad experience. You were attacked by
I
a
was
homeless person.
assaulted. Yes, I was running. Should I tell the story?
Tell
or
the
is it
story.
Okay. So I was running on my normal route and I go really far. And I had seen this homeless guy for months, like all the time, just like in these bushes. He seemed like very chill and he was very like scrawny, like scrawnier than me and just tall and like whatever. He seemed fine, but on this particular day he wasn't in his normal spot. So I'm like, whatever, it's like okay. And I'm coming back from my run and I see him and he looks like off, but I'm just like not looking at him. I'm just running. I'm going so fast, by the way. Like I was like full on sprinting and he starts to call me the N-word. I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna look at him. I'm just not gonna look. And then he starts spitting on me. He spits on me and as I'm running past, and then he starts to chase me like fast. I couldn't believe that he could keep up with my pace. And so I run into the middle of the street because I'm thinking like, okay, maybe a car will hit him. Like I literally am just thinking he's not in like the right mind. Maybe he won't notice a car. And there's not really anyone around, but there's a construction worker outside of his car across the street. And then there's someone getting coffee. And they both run like after me to tell him to stop, but he like is already on top of me and he starts swinging on me, and I'm so lucky that those guys pulled him off, like because it was like really early. It was like 6 a.m. or something, and like no one was out. Like I was so lucky that I was at that specific place and that he wasn't in his normal spot. Beignet box. Don't go by the beignet box in Studio City. That's where he was. I like can't even go there anymore, really. It's so scary.
Yeah, and but I think that it's very evolved of you that even though you personally have had this really horrific experience with someone who's experiencing homelessness and obviously mental illness, that you still watched this movie and felt compassion for homeless people and how they become homeless. I don't think that most people realize how close they are at any given moment to homelessness. And like I think that should give us all empathy, is that like I've seen how it happens. You know who's most likely to end up homeless?
Who?
People with mental illness, but aside from that is people who have a household in which it's like a married couple and both work. Whoa. Because a lot of times they have a mortgage they can barely afford or rent they can barely afford that relies on both incomes. So then one of the people loses their job, and then suddenly you can't afford the rent, you can't afford the mortgage. Next thing you know, 3 months go by, you don't pay that bill, boom, you're out on the streets. And
I wouldn't have expected that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's also I believe the statistic is that people with severe mental illness, schizophrenia, psychosis, I think 85% of the time or more, if there's any violence, it's committed against a family member, not a member of the public. Like random attacks of homeless people or mentally ill people on members of the public, like they don't happen. They're super rare. So that's very strange that happened to you. Mm-hmm. I also think that there's something about like the LA housing crisis that is so in your face. The fact that you can be living on the streets with nothing, and then there's somebody with like a $50 million house that you can see their house up in the hills from where you're sleeping in a bush every day. That has to, like, that level. Speaking of the movie, like that is one of the things that's like one of the causes of psychotic breaks in people is living in a dense population with inequality.
Yeah.
Because seeing in your face somebody have so much more than you and so much more than you think you'll ever have day in and day out, it just breaks you. It's as a social creature, it's a really bad thing to have to be forced to deal with every day. So I do think that the LA homeless population is probably it's just such a bad situation that it's probably a bit more of a dangerous environment than a lot of other like unhoused situations.
Yeah, for sure.
And this was like that moment. With his performance is so good, the writing is so good, the way it's captured is so good, and the way that it's like he's chipped away at, this guy is just like chipped away, his humanity is taken from him over such a short period of time. Like same thing, it made you think, like when somebody is saying something that sounds totally crazy to you on the street, they might not be wrong.
Yeah, I literally was so floored by that part. I think that's the most memorable part of the movie for me.
Do you want to pull up Letterboxd? I'll put up Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I don't know where the critics are going to land on this movie. I'm actually really intrigued. I haven't looked at all.
Oh. There was a quote that I was like, this is so wrong. Okay. At the very beginning, he's like, you either surf it or you don't, or something like that. But I've always heard that line as, you either surf it or you die.
What is it from? Is it like a surfer line?
It's just like surfers have said that to me. You either surf it or you die. But in the movie, they said you either surf it or you don't.
I wonder if that was intentional or if they like just wanted to change it for the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh. The film is full of recycled commentary on the dangers of hypermasculinity, but it doesn't pretend to be something it's not. Just ride the wave and you'll have a good time. That was Maxwell Rabb of the Chicago Reader. We've got Donald Clark of the Irish Times. The Surfer, for all of its unpleasantness, offers encouraging evidence that there's still room for existential awkwardness in contemporary cinema. No better, odder man than Nicolas Cage to act that out. I'm with that, dude.
I agree, yeah.
We've got Elliot Collins from the Movie Files, who says The Surfer is this psychological trippy thriller that plunges the great Nicolas Cage into this sun-drenched nightmare as it cleverly weaponizes Nicolas Cage's inherent cageness, subjecting his character to a gauntlet of humiliation and deprivation. These are good. I think I'm pretty much with these reviews. How's Letterboxd feel?
It's all like 3 stars. Someone said that it's one of his best performances.
You 2-starred it?
Yeah, I did, because it gave me so much anxiety.
Okay. Someone said
as a lifelong renter, this is actually what I think the process of buying a house is. That's so true. That's how I feel.
Okay, we've got a recent review. Lydia Roberts on Letterboxd says, Dunno. I'm pretty surprised to see this mixed response to this because I was on the verge of a 4.5. Just happy to see Cage in his element, still providing excellent performances given the opportunity. Really successfully avoided a lot of the trappings and pitfalls of small budgets for me. Lots of variety, limited location, action, presentation, and performance. Tight and lean, carried mostly by a great sense of momentum. Hallucinatory without any corny psychedelia. Yeah, it did do that. It did a really good job of the...
a lot of people are saying it's Wizard of Ozzy.
I don't get that.
I've seen 4 reviews about it.
I'm surprised there aren't more funny reviews. I'm kind of disappointed. Letterboxd community, this is the first time that you've let us down in terms of your usually great, funny reviews.
At the end of the movie, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I feel like this is what Nicolas Cage is, like, actually like. Like, I feel like it's pretty accurate. I know it's not, but in my head, that's what he is.
Yeah, and we should say this is a direct Coppola connection. We don't have to like look for a Coppola connection here. Mm-mm. It's a Coppola who's in this movie. We need a Coppola meter. It's like the Kevin Bacon meter. I think he's like
meter. My fave. Yeah. We've talked about this.
Cage is your favorite Coppola?
Yeah. Except for like I love Romy. Like she just released a new song. It's really good. She's
promoting her single
White Lotus. It's really good.
Yeah, Cage
but
is
Nicolas
good.
Cage is really great.
He's really, really good. What else do we have to say about this one? I had something. There was something about like the speech I saw Francis Ford Coppola give that I think existentially was on or philosophically connected to this movie. Like he was Francis Ford is surfing this wave. I think in the haves and the have-nots and sort of the well, Francis Ford is $100 million in debt from making his last movie, so he was waxing about money a lot, and he was talking about how all the things you need in life and how he thinks it's easier to get those things by having friends than having money. He's like, if I need bread, I may or may not have money, but if I have friends, I always have bread.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was Nicolas Cage's problem in this, is he was a man alone. He was on an island surrounded by jerks. There were no friends. This was like the bad version of humanity.
Isolation is one of the worst things you can do, I think, for yourself.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like the whole mental illness thing, is that's kind of what they found, is that mental illnesses are social diseases that have social cures. Like you cannot fix any kind of mental illness without a strong support network around you, because the lack of socialization and the isolation that people feel when experiencing mental illness, like he did, like when he was walking up to people telling them his story and didn't believe, that makes you sicker and sicker as opposed to getting better. So,
exactly.
As someone who spends a whole lot of time alone, I find that an interesting thing for you to say.
I don't. I love being with people, but I also am comfortable. I was just talking about this. I am totally comfortable with myself, and I always have been, so I can do things alone. Like, I'm not going to not do something because I can't go with someone, but I like to be with other people.
Yeah, I saw a thing. Where was it? It was maybe on TikTok. It was somewhere recently that was like, if you're brave enough to go to dinner by yourself or a movie by yourself, then you can conquer anything.
Yeah. Like, I've never like been afraid of that.
Me either. I do those things all the time.
I know people who won't do things and they'll stay at home if they can't do it with someone. And I just can't live that way.
That feels like a sickness to me. That's like some sort of like codependency.
Most people are like that. A lot of people are like that.
Well, we need to break that stigma with our celebration of solo movie going, because you can see the movie and then talk to people after, like we do. You could be a whole podcast on it.
It's true.
It is. Movies are great solo going experiences. If you don't have someone to do something with and you want to do something, go see a movie right now.
It's true.
That's our PSA. Oh, what are we seeing this week? I know what we're seeing. I don't even need to look it up.
Wait, the Weekend movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I'm excited.
I don't know.
The trailer looks good. However, you know what else the trailer looked good for?
What?
The Idol.
True.
I'm nervous that this is going to be the movie version of The Idol.
Like, I remember, because I went through a huge Weekend phase. I loved Abel when I was like in 8th grade, and we would always talk about his music videos when like Starboy came out and just how incredible they were. I feel like this is just going to be a big music video, like look like all of his music videos.
I hope so, but I hope the same for The Idol. You
I
were
hope
also
the plot is good. I hope the plot is like there.
You were in a Lily Rose Depp and Weekend phase when The Idol came out, and it still didn't land for you.
And I didn't see them. Yeah, no.
So I feel, I don't know, I'm cautiously, what am I? What's the opposite of cautiously optimistic? I'm like, what does anyone know? I would like to hear if someone knows what the opposite is of cautiously optimistic. I guess it would be like bullishly pessimistic. I don't know. I'm worried, but I hope it's good. I really want it to be good.
Me too. I have a question for you. I keep forgetting to ask. Have you been wearing PJs and comfy clothes to the theater since you first did?
No, I forgot. But I wore like, because I was skateboarding, so I wore like Vans slip-ons, which are like a close second to Uggs. I can't skateboard in Uggs.
Really?
I tried. It rips up the bottoms really bad.
Yeah.
But no, I was like dressed for the day, so I was wearing pants. But I should have next movie. I'll hopefully skateboard again or walk or something. But I will definitely wear comfy clothes. I will assume you wore comfy clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all we've got for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. We'll see.
We'll see.
Peace.
Swag money YOLO.